Welcome back, everyone. We have a great guest. We have Tuomas from Wolfheart. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I am being very busy, and I'm sorry I'm 3 minutes late from this because there's been a lot of interviews going on, but not complaining. This is a good busy to have when the album is coming out.
Oh yeah, and you guys are about to release your seventh full length. How has your writing and recording process changed since the first full length?
I hope it just goes more professionally by each album. There's no bigger changes in the actual writing process or anything. I just think it gets easier and smoother the more we work together, and it's just the third album with the same sound engineer that also does the orchestrations, and he's now listed also as a producer, so that cooperation works clearly better now. It wasn't bad ever,
Yeah.
but the more you work with somebody, the more you learn about the ways they think and ways they work. So this definitely was the easiest album of all Wolfhard albums to make.
And for you, do you feel like you guys are kind of like a well-oiled machine nowadays, where you guys just flow perfectly?
Yeah, that is the thing. And with this lineup, we've been touring so much already. Like we can appreciate the smooth studio time when you've been touring in Russia and South America and Australia and Asia and places like that. That really sucks out all the energy from you. So having a like nice, relaxed studio schedule is something that I think also the whole band enjoys, and this is like where we perform our best.
And for you, so you guys recorded how you're explaining this. You guys recorded this as a full band, like in the studio. Was it remote at all?
It was completely remote.
Oh,
That's the our solo guitar player lives in Athens, so he's like I don't know how many thousand kilometers away anyway. And yeah, we do because we are from Finland, we appreciate our own time and our own space. So it's like we take that to a little bit extreme also with the studio work. Like I'm usually at the studio with everybody, but mainly it's individually. We don't we record as a group ever.
damn, that's crazy. And so you guys have 9 tracks on this record. Were any of these like old archive songs that you guys reworked and brought to this new record?
No, I don't know how to do that. Like if a song doesn't fit to an album, it's probably not a good song. Then you should write better ones. Like I know a lot of bands that they maybe write like 12 or 14 songs per album, and then they choose the 10 best. But I don't. I write it completely differently. I start with the first idea that brings the whole vision of the album in my head, and then I start working with the album, not just compilation of songs or ideas. But yeah, why would you even record or write songs that you know that this probably is not going to make it to the album? Isn't that like a waste of time already? I don't know. It's just
That makes sense. And so you're saying like you don't do that kind of stuff. So there's no songs that didn't make it on this record. Everything
no.
that you wrote made it.
Yeah, I think it's like I, I always have this almost the same working titles. Already know what is the first song. That's always one of the working titles. One song is called first song. One song is called last song. Like I automatically start to write for the track list and for the whole album to work as a one piece of music. But and it's always a pain in the ass if there's when the album is done and then the label comes with the request like we need a bonus song for Japan vinyl, we need a bonus song for this, and I don't have any. Then I need to come up with the bonus songs, and that's a really stupid amount of work on top of the actual album that is get done. So it would make sense to have something extra, but yeah, I would know that they are not good enough anyway. So I don't want to spend my time and the focus on the studio on anything that is not written for the album itself.
I mean, that makes sense. It's very productive sounding. Um, and with you talking about that, so you say you start with like your one that says first song, one that says last song. How do you come up with the track order?
Well, because of that writing style that I compose a full album instead of just individual songs that we pile up as an album, it comes super easy. Like it kind of like to me, it comes automatically. And sometimes like when I have maybe like 7 songs ready for an album, then I already know that I need certain type of a song to make the album full, and that needs to be the track number 8 or 7, so it works the best way between the songs I want to have on the sixth and the ninth, or something like that. So I kind of like yeah. I write the album to work already as an album, so the songs are kind of like tailor made to create the track list already.
That sounds very like intricate. I've never heard that from a musician. That's crazy. And so after King of the North, when did you guys start working on this record, writing wise?
By the end of last year summer.
Yes, not bad. And how long for you guys was it like? Because you're saying you write for the album. How long did it take you to write these songs for you?
Well, totally like 2 or 3 months, but there was like one European tour between one Finnish tour and one European tour, so I had to work between the tours a little bit. But like once I have the time and the kind of like the green light to start writing an album, I need to like have a very like a well schedule ahead of me. I don't want to write an album and just sit on the songs for several months. I want to know from label and management that when I start writing the album, that means that we're gonna go to the studio. We have a deadline. We're gonna like it's like the whole process begins. It's not just me making music for the sake of making music. So once I get that, it's usually it's just like 2 months or something like that to get the basic like writing done.
That's not bad at all. And as a vocalist, did any of these lyrics mean anything to you coming off these records?
Kind of, yeah. Like on this album, there's a little bit more like personal approach on the lyrics. Not any kind of like it's more like observational stuff or like not that there's much actually me in the album. I stopped doing that several years ago with Wolfheart. I noticed that it's not very pleasant to do these kind of songs live, which like our second biggest hit in Spotify and YouTube is a song that I will never play live. And for a band like us that is heavily touring, it's I'd rather do those kind of songs for another band that doesn't tour because that gets complicated for the fans also. If there's songs that they are dying to hear, and I'm definitely never gonna play them because I would feel way too exposed on the stage or something like that. So the most personal stuff I give for my other bands.
That's interesting. And with these 9 songs, were there any that because I know you're talking about how you don't put yourself into it too much anymore, but did any of them like mean a lot to you just in general? Like you liked it a lot, one of your favorites?
Well, musically they mean everything. Like
Yeah.
I always compose the songs completely ready until I even start working with the lyrics. I don't know how to just sit down and write lyrics. Like words without the music are just nonsense to me. Like it doesn't matter how poetic I can write if it's not connected with the music. If I don't have the music in my head, it feels ridiculous to do the lyrics. It's just words with no context at all. It has to have the music first. But that means that I write most of the lyrics in the studio when we are starting the recordings of the vocals. So the songs, when I compose them, when we record them, the songs already are the thing for me. So the music means a lot. All the songs, I get annoyingly emotionally attached for the songs, especially when we start to pick up the single songs. Or of course label has their ideas, management wants to like suggest songs, and I get sometimes very like stupidly defensive because because yeah, I'm like defending the songs and I have a like way too much of connection with the songs music wise, but then I just want to keep the separation with the lyrics because that would I don't like the feeling when I'm in front of the audience that is there to have fun, to do mosh pit, get drunk, be entertained. And then if I realize that like this is too much of me, then I feel completely out of place. So it's not that I'm not like that the music doesn't mean to me, but it's more like I don't take the last step with the lyrics on this band.
And talking about how connected you are with the music in general, do you have a favorite riff or favorite part of a song off of this record that you've ended up falling in love with?
Many. Well, let me think. What would be I like the beginning of Gale, the last song of the album. I like that a lot, and I like how well our bass player like comes up with the because he's done so amazing job with the vocals on this album. One of the coolest feelings is that when really good friend of yours that is part of your band is able to completely exceed himself and gives this the super big wow effect to you when he's part of your music. Like it's again, we are from Finland, so we don't talk that much, we don't connect that way, but with music that connection goes a lot deeper when you can like be part of the same like a piece of music that way. So I the whole beginning of that song, for example, then again I know what the music video looks like because we got the editing done very early stage, and I know which waterfall we were in Iceland shooting the video. So I have like super cool memories connected with the song, like outside of the actual musical work also.
That's pretty cool. That's actually interesting. And you do like aggressive vocals. Do you do any warm ups before recording or performing?
I need to shout 1 or 2 days before. Like the first day in the studio, it's always sounds really bad. It's just because we don't rehearse as a band. We
Yeah, that's
we do
crazy.
rehearsals once before a tour or once before a festival or something like that. So when we don't tour, I don't do growling at all. So I just need the 1 day to kind of like start the engine, and then that's good to go.
That's interesting. And as a musician, what are some of the challenges you faced in the beginning of your career compared to now that you don't face?
Well, it was uh, late 90s, so not having internet was like a big obstacle. Like reaching media, reaching labels, you were actually physically writing letters, you were physically sending tapes and stuff like that. Then you were waiting 2 weeks hoping that it actually arrived and somebody would even reply. So it was like living, like compared to now, like I didn't know about better future back in the days, but like compared to now, like we are like completely in a different world. So I think looking back now, it seems more difficult than it felt back in the days because there was no other option. But that was if everything took like 10 times more, and like even being aware what is who which magazines are available in Europe, because living in Finland, we have 5 million people living in Finland. It's not a big market for European metal magazines, which means that there was not many of them available to begin with. So
That's crazy.
everything was slow and difficult.
That's crazy, man. It's hard to think of that because, like, looking back, doing all the research, you guys been around for a long time to think about how crazy the adapting has been over the years and to where it's so easy and accessible nowadays. Insane.
Yeah,
Um,
like I said, it didn't feel difficult back in the day because that was what everybody was doing. But now when I compare, it's like I don't know how any of the bands managed to get anything done in the 90s.
yeah, it's crazy. And then I was reading in the promo, you guys are classified as winter metal.
Yeah,
When did people start calling you that?
I started calling us that 2013. When I started the band, it was a solo project for the first album release, and I did the whole release myself. I did the promotion and the releasing and distribution and everything. And I had to come up with the label. There was no actual record label to do any of that. So I had to come up with the style of music, and I didn't like the idea that this is just another Finnish melodic death metal band, because at that time there was quite plenty of those around already. And I wanted to have a something Nordic style, but nothing to connect with Viking or pagan, because that's not the thing we do. So winter sounded cool. Winter metal sounds cool, and it has a lot of connections for the music and the production that I want to have on the music, how it sounds. And I'm super happy that it sticks.
Yeah,
Like I'm still talking about the term, and I had never seen any other bands using that. So I was able to come up with my own music style.
that's crazy. Is there any bands that you listen to that, since you classified your guys' self that you would classify winter metal?
No, of course not. That I
Just I just figure I'd have to ask. And you guys been a band since 2012. How has your gear changed from now since the beginning?
gear.
Yeah, your gear, your guitars,
Uh,
amps, touring.
uh, well, everything gets smaller and easier and more digital. Like I was fighting against the whole digital pedal kind of thing for a long time, but more you do festivals, the more it makes sense not to have an amp and cabinet anymore. So it's we are using like pedals for everybody. Guitar wise, during the past 11 years, I have had two guitars.
Mhm.
So with guitars, I only have one guitar at the time.
That's
I I
interesting.
I haven't owned like a second guitar for 15 years now.
That's
I, I
insane.
I borrow a guitar from my drummer for every tour as a spare guitar. So I have two guitars always when I go on tour. I only play my guitar unless something goes wrong, and that destroys the whole show. If I need to change my guitar, that show is done. Then I'm just counting minutes to get off from the stage. So I have all my guitars that have been like custom tailor made for me
Yeah.
for the past 25 years. So that level of craftsmanship and customizing, it's just any other guitar would not come close.
That's just very interesting that you go on tour with two guitars and like in the beginning it was one and now you use your drummer. That's interesting. And then if it doesn't work out, you're like, I'm just ready to get off stage.
Yeah, because it's not mine. Like in
Yeah.
theory, I could make a second like custom. I have a really good deal with one Finnish custom shop that does my guitar, but I would still only play the one. I would
Yeah.
only play the second guitar if something goes wrong with the number one guitar. So that would be horribly expensive spare guitar to carry around that I wouldn't want to play until I have to. So I just decided like I'm just gonna stick with the one. And
So then I have to ask. It wasn't on the list, but I have to ask now. So since the one guitar is the most important guitar, how many times in touring or playing shows have you had to use the second guitar?
I think in the past year once, and I'm very not neurotic about it, but I do change strings for every show, so nothing would happen. I'm
I love this sounds like a ritual because I always ask about tour rituals. So I'm guessing this is one of your tour rituals. You change strings every day. Well, if you're on
that
tour.
that happens every day on tour. Like I sometimes I do have a very heavy hand when it comes to playing,
Mm.
and especially when I do vocals. It doesn't happen when I play home or work at the studio, but I can't make any strings that last more than 1.5 shows. So that's the second reason. If I would try to play 2 shows in a row with the same strings, I would be forced to use the spare guitar. So I'm it's not just a ritual, it's something that has to happen.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's crazy though. And then you guys tour all the time around the world. Do you have any favorite places to play?
My new favorite place is Australia. Like
And
it,
is there a certain reason?
all it took me 20 years to get there, and it like we've done most of the parts in the world so many times already that I knew already like what is the tour in Asia several times, or Russia, or South America we only did once,
Yeah.
North America several times, Europe so many times. So that kind of stayed like this like uncharted territory, and I don't know why it wasn't that exotic compared to other countries, but I just really like the people. For example, it's I never seen so laid back and easygoing people while they are still so functional and everything actually works. And it was so smooth and nice and easy. Maybe it was good timing also, I don't know, like getting out from Finland in the coldest and darkest part of the winter and go to Australia. Timing was really good for that also. But that's something I would really want to do with this album, to be able to like a headliner smaller tour in Australia.
That'd be pretty
I didn't
cool.
I didn't see a single koala bear or kangaroo, so that has to be fixed also. I was there for 1 week and didn't see any of those iconic animals of Australia. So
We definitely need a photo of you with a koala or a kangaroo. I think the metal fans need it. I'm asking for it.
I need it personally, not even as a musician, but a human being. So yeah, there's all the reasons to go back to Australia.
It has to happen now. And you guys have toured with so many bands. I've seen you guys with Karash on Grand. You guys have toured with so many bands. Do you have a dream tour lineup that hasn't happened for you?
Not not really. I really want to go back on tour with Flesh God Apocalypse, because it's just
Cool.
I really love how the Finnish and Italian mentality fits and doesn't fit. It's such a good people in the metal scene, and I think it's the older you get, the more important is the chemistry of the bands. Not that if the band is your favorite or if it's a huge band or you love the band when you were a teenager, you just want to travel with good people, because that's you want to do good memories. You start to think more about like kind of a little bit more selfish. It's not just about the career or the pushing the band forward, making better sales, stuff like that. You want to have good memories. You want to know that we go on tour with these guys, you're gonna laugh a lot, you're gonna smile a lot, and you're gonna be happy when you're on the road. Then you don't care about did the album go on charts on that country you were touring, or how many doors you kicked open for the next possibilities or whatever. You just enjoy your time a lot more.
And that makes sense. And with touring with all these bands and talking about how you like doing certain ones with certain bands, is there anything you learned from these bands that you tour with?
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you are smart, wherever you go, whatever you do, you are able to learn. Like some lessons are not pleasant, but you like when you tour with assholes, you hopefully learn not to be a dick to another band because you see how you feel how that feels. And
Mhm.
if you work with good people, you learn the better sides from them, and then you try to like influence that in your behavior. Well, Flesh God is again touring with them and with their current bass player,
Mhm.
vocalist Francesco. He fell down from a mountain, and he almost died, and he took like 1 year to recover, and he can't use these two fingers anymore. So he had to switch
No.
from guitar to bass. He
Mhm.
first learned to play all the songs with these two fingers, but then he realized he better to do the bass because they lost the bass player,
Yeah.
and uh, and he doesn't complain. So I don't complain. I just like touring with him, knowing what he's been through, and seeing his attitude. I decided I'm never going to complain again.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't complain, I don't complain. So yeah,
That's pretty cool. And with you guys, so you guys have 9 studio records. We talked about this. How do you guys go about making a set list with having that big of a catalog, especially with releasing a new record?
it's horrible. It's horrible because we are still like we did already one European like headliner tour, but North America it would be a support slot in we're gonna do European tour with Dark Tranquility and Moonspell, so that means like 45 minutes. We have songs that are more than 11 minutes,
Yeah.
so one song would be third of the set list already, like fourth actually. But yeah, it is really difficult. There's way too many songs that you would love to play, and it feels really stupid like 45 minutes or 40 minutes at that point when you need to step out from the stage. You are actually just warmed up, and
And is there any staple songs that you feel have to be played at every show you guys do?
at least we haven't done the set list for the European tour yet, but we've been playing Hunt, which was the first song on the first album, the first song I ever wrote for the band. We've been playing that for 11 years, so I would really want to keep that because it's still the biggest song in Spotify and YouTube or any other streaming platform. So I enjoy that like people appreciate the new stuff, but we can still play the oldest song of the band, and that still is equally a highlight of the show.
And then you have a lot of tattoos. Does any of them have like a like thing where with Wolfheart where you got them either on tour or they mean something to you like that?
No, like I've seen that bands come and go. Things happen. It doesn't mean it doesn't have to be much that is happening. It can be issue with the label or management or something, and your opinion towards your own band can change really quickly. So I don't want to have like my guitar player has
Yeah.
Wolfheart logo. I don't have because I in the long run it's just a band.
Yeah.
I have a lot of like tattoos that have connection with the songs or music. I have some of my own lyrics tattooed in different places, but band is just a band. Anything can happen, and that's just to me. I don't know why, but it feels weird to me to have any band logo, not just mine, but any other band also. But there's a lot of tattoos that are like connection with my music.
That makes sense, and that's actually really cool. And is there any new bands that you're currently super into?
Yeah, I nowadays it's super difficult to find a new band that you get excited. Like I try and it's just nothing just sounds the way, and you don't feel this. Of course, you don't feel the same you did when you were 15 and you heard Metallica the first time, or In Flames, or At the Gates, or the Dimmu Borgir, or like there's no eye-opening experiences anymore. But
Yeah.
the latest full-length album of Orbit Culture,
Ooh.
that's I don't know. I can't explain why the songs are fairly simple. The production is not what I usually like because clearly there's a lot of samples in the drums. It's not that organic. I don't usually like this kind of like a keyboard work that they have, but everything on that album I love. That's the first time
That's
in
very
like 10
nice.
years that I just put that album on from the first song in the gym, and I walk out from the gym when the last song is playing. I don't skip at all.
Man,
So,
that's cool.
and
That's
I don't know
it's
why. And they, if I remember correctly, they're from Sweden, so they should be our mortal enemies. Like it's culturally I shouldn't be allowed to like them this much because there's this Finland Sweden thing going on, but it's that is like everything is in the right place on that album.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you guys accomplished a lot with having a long career already. Do you have any bucket list items that you're still waiting to accomplish?
I don't think I ever had this kind of bucket list kind of thing.
That's okay.
Well, it's kind of like not like I don't have a like list of events that need to happen or achievements that I need to like achieve. I just want to be happy doing what I do. I don't like I'm not ready to feel bad about this yet. I know that things can get sour in the music business with multiple reasons, but I really hope that like I'm able to tour with these guys on the band
Yeah.
and enjoy that because yeah, we almost lost our drummer. He had two surgeries done in his lower back and he lost control partly of his left foot, which is kind of shitty thing for a drummer. But having him back now makes me appreciate it even more that I have these certain human beings with me, and I just like we can make more or less money, we can do more or better in the charts, but I just want to feel good about what we do and be happy because this is also life. Eventually it will get unhappy and fucked up and then probably we will die eventually also. So
Right.
have more good things between this moment and my death. That's my bucket list.
That's a great bucket list. And for someone listening to you guys for the first time, what 5 songs would you suggest them to listen to?
Mm, Hunt, Breakwater, Grave from the new album, Strength and Valor, Hammer.
Great list. And for someone trying to keep up with you guys, where can everyone keep up with you and buy your new record?
Facebook is the best at the moment. That's where we are most active, and most like have the most information of.
Perfect. And I'd like to thank you for being on my show.
Thank you. It was super nice. It was the last interview of my long day, and I was hoping it wouldn't be boring, and it was not.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't.
It was a very good ending for the evening because I've been doing a lot of these basic interviews, just explaining the album title, album cover, stuff like that. So then you go into just like brain goes into this copy paste mode. But this was super nice ending of my evening. Thank you.